This is all about getting to the start of the CDT. The CDT, or the Continental Divide Trail, is one of the big three U.S. trails. Like the PCT that I hiked in 2023, it runs from Mexico to Canada. Unlike the PCT, it's not finished yet. Established in 1978, it is planned to be finished in 2029. The trail is a little loosey-goosey. That is, there are lots of alternatives and no one true route. A lot of people call it a choose-your-own-adventure hike. It is said that you've completed it if you've hiked from border to border within the Continental Divide corridor. The official length is estimated to be 3,100 miles, but if you take the popular alternatives, it's similar to the PCT at around 2,600 miles. I've been prepping for the hike for months. A hiker called Double Dip was interviewed on episode 281 about her CDT Thruhike. In it, she said you only need to send resupply boxes to 7 places. 3 in New Mexico, 1 in Wyoming, 1 in Idaho, and 2 in Montana. Apparently it's pretty easy to get resupplies from the trail towns everywhere else, including all of Colorado. So I made some meals with our freeze dryer and others for 8 sets of food drops. I created a spreadsheet of all the trail stops based on info in far out. Assuming 20 miles per day and predicting the next place after the designated stop, I decided how many days of food to carry. The first stop after the Southern Terminus is Lordsburg, New Mexico, at mile 85. So I packed 5 days worth of food for the start, or 8 hot meals and 5 days worth of trail food. Why 8? Well, you don't need breakfast the first day or dinner the last. My lunch, or what I simply call my trail food, is the same every day. A quarter cup of nuts, a quarter cup of M&Ms, 2 trail bars, and a meat stick. I also carry some instant coffee, an electrolyte packet, and a multivitamin per day. Other things can be stuffed in with the food, like my camp shoes. I'll need those for water crossings in the Gila wilderness. On the PCT, I started training regiment about a month before leaving. I weighed 195 pounds at the start of training and 190 at the end. I had trouble being as committed to training this time. I was only able to hike about 20 miles once in the month leading up to the hike. I started training at 210 pounds, and it looks like I'll be starting the CDT at 210 pounds. So the start of the trail may be a little rough, but I'll have some extra padding for my waist strap. My last day of work was Thursday. The next morning, I was taking the train to Lordsburg, New Mexico. Surprisingly, I slept pretty good. The last night nerves usually get to me, but not this time. Julie and I got up at 6:30 a.m. to make it to our 8 a.m. train in Martinez. We wanted to drop by the bank to get some extra cash on the way. The train was a little late, so Julie and I got to hug and kiss a little extra. I had to promise to be careful, but of course, when have I not been careful? Drop! Boarding and waving goodbye.
Bye.
Would travel through the day to Los Angeles. Beyond the standard rail side fare, the train sped by an old but operating oil field. Just outside of San Luis Obispo, the train took a bend around the California men's colony, but it just looked like a prison to me. I got a delicious dinner in the dining car while the sun was still up. The train was traveling right on the coast at that point, just south of Pismo Beach, so I got a great view of both the ocean and Vandenberg on the other side. Julie and the boys and I watched a rocket launch from Vandenberg back in 2009.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
No! Look at it go! Look at it go! Look, Ray! Look, Dad!
That's a lot.
Look at it! Look at it!
Rocket.
In Los Angeles, I met a fellow CDT hiker, Bootstrap. I noticed his PCT placard on his pack. He thru-hiked the PCT in 24/25. Together, we transferred to a train bound for Lordsburg, New Mexico. I've been to Lordsburg before in 2021. I drove most of the way to the CDT Southern Terminus. About a mile from the border, I popped a tire. A cactus spine went right through the sidewall. So I drove another mile on the spare and then hiked 2 miles to the border. At the CDT monument, I met 3 hikers that just finished the trail. Back to Lordsburg with me, where I dropped them off at a gas station that was supposed to have good breakfast burritos. Bootstrap and I slept horribly on the train, but coffee in the morning helped. After the stop in Tulsa, Bootstrap noticed a friendly face from his PCT adventures, Dipper. He wasn't sure where he'd catch up with her, but there she was sitting with another through hiker, Almighty. They had just met on the train. A couple stops later, we were in Lordsburg. I could see my hotel from the train stop. Everybody else was staying at a Motel 6 about a mile away. We made plans to meet up for dinner later. When I dropped my bag off the lobby, I noticed the tire repair shop across the street was familiar. I was so close just 5 years ago. I couldn't check in for about an hour, so I wandered around town. I got word from the others. They met the final hiker that was going to join us for the shuttle ride to the trail in the morning. Her name is Taser. You book the shuttles through the CDTC website. For $125, you get a ride, a CDT backpack hanger, a membership to the CDTC for a year, and most importantly, access to 5 water caches between the border and Lordsburg. I should get to editing. Tomorrow's Easter. That's right, I'll be in Lordsburg on Easter. There's a good chance I'll see the Easter Bunny on the trail tomorrow, or maybe it'll just be a jackrabbit. Tomorrow will be very different from my Easter on the PCT.